Welcome to the all-new Murder Analysed. Join me as we delve deep into the darkest corners of human nature. From infamous serial killers to unsolved mysteries, we analyse the cases that have baffled investigators and terrified communities. In each episode, we'll uncover the psychological profiles, dissect the evidence, and explore the chilling details that make these stories unforgettable. If you love true crime and want to stay updated with our latest analyses, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. So grab a coffee and let's uncover the truth together. Welcome back to another deep dive. We have looked at Richard William Huckle's case from the perspective of the facts of his crimes against children in quite some detail. You can see both videos on him in the links below. There is a warning out with those as they depict both his crimes and death in detail. This may upset some viewers. This video looks at Richard psychologically, highlighting the laws around such cases. Richard William Huckle, an English serial child sex offender, became infamous for his heinous crimes against children. Arrested in 2014 by Britain's National Crime Agency, Huckle's case shed light on the disturbing world of predatory paedophilia. This psychological analysis aims to explore the factors that contributed to Huckle's criminal behaviour, his psychological profile, and the implications for understanding and preventing similar offences. Richard William Huckle was born on May 14th, 1986 in Ashford, Kent, England. His early life and family background remain largely obscure in public records, with little detailed information available about his formative years. However, certain aspects of his upbringing and educational history provide some insight into the foundations of his later behaviour. Huckle grew up in what appeared to be a stable middle-class family environment. There were no publicly reported incidents of abuse, neglect, or significant dysfunction within his family, which is often a common thread in the backgrounds of serial offenders. His parents were described as regular working-class individuals who provided a typical upbringing. Despite the seemingly normal family dynamics, it's crucial to consider that the absence of overt trauma does not necessarily preclude the development of deviant behaviours. Subtle family dynamics, such as emotional neglect, lack of attachment, or unrecognised psychological issues, can also contribute to the emergence of harmful tendencies. However, in Huckle's case, no such factors have been prominently identified or discussed in available reports. Huckle attended Harvey Grammar School, a selective grammar school in Folkestone, Kent. His time at school was characterised by unremarkable academic performance and behaviour. Described by peers and teachers as a quiet and unassuming student, Huckle did not exhibit any notable signs of delinquency or behavioural problems during his school years. His quiet demeanour and ability to blend into his surroundings were traits that later played a significant role in his criminal activities. This inconspicuousness allowed him to avoid drawing attention to his darker inclinations and facilitated his manipulation of those around him. There is little detailed information available about Huckle's interests and hobbies during his childhood and teenage years. However, his later proficiency with computers and the internet suggests an early interest in technology. This interest likely developed during his formative years, providing him with the skills that he would later use to document and disseminate his crimes online. Huckle's ability to navigate the digital world with ease was a significant factor in his criminal activities. The internet provided him with a platform to connect with like-minded individuals and a means to share his actions anonymously. His technological skills enabled him to exploit the anonymity and vast reach of the internet, contributing to the scale and duration of his offences. Richard Huckle's quiet and reserved nature extended beyond his demeanour into his social life, where he exhibited a marked absence of close friends or strong social connections. This pervasive social isolation played a significant role in shaping his psychological landscape and ultimately his deviant behaviour. Social isolation can have profound psychological effects. For Huckle, the lack of meaningful social relationships meant that he missed out on crucial opportunities for positive social interactions. These interactions are vital for developing empathy, understanding social norms, and cultivating a sense of belonging. Without a network of supportive and normative influences, individuals like Huckle can become increasingly detached from societal expectations and moral standards. In the absence of real-world social connections, Huckle turned to online communities for validation and support. The internet provided a platform where he could find like-minded individuals who shared and reinforced his deviant interests. In these online spaces, Huckle's behaviour was not only accepted but also encouraged, creating an echo chamber that further distorted his moral compass. This validation from online peers likely emboldened him, reducing any internal or external checks on his behaviour. The psychological consequences of Huckle's social isolation are multifaceted. For example, a lack of empathy. Empathy is often developed through social interactions and the ability to see the world from others' perspectives. Huckle's isolation hindered this development, contributing to his ability to dehumanize his victims and justify his actions without remorse. Examining detachment from societal norms, regular engagement with diverse social groups helps individuals internalize societal norms and values. Huckle's limited social interactions meant he did not internalize these norms, leading to a detachment that allowed his deviant behavior to go unchecked and reinforced his deviant interests. The online communities Huckle engaged with acted as incubators for his deviant interests. These spaces provided not only validation, but also a sense of community and belonging that he lacked in the real world. This reinforcement made his behavior seem acceptable and normal within his online peer group. Healthy social relationships often serve as a moderating influence on behavior, providing feedback and accountability. Friends and family can challenge deviant thoughts and actions, offer alternative perspectives, and provide emotional support. Huckle's isolation deprived him of these moderating influences, allowing his deviant interests to flourish unchecked. The lack of close relationships meant there were fewer opportunities for intervention by concerned parties who might have noticed and acted upon warning signs. Comparing Richard Huckle's social isolation with other offenders reveals common patterns that underscore the importance of social connections in preventing the development and escalation of harmful behaviours. Many serial offenders and individuals with deviant behaviours share histories of social isolation, which contributes to their disconnection from societal norms. Examining these cases provides valuable insights into the role of social isolation in criminal behaviour. Comparing the following cases highlights these common patterns. Jeffrey Dahmer, one of America's most notorious serial killers, exhibited a profound level of social isolation throughout his life. Dahmer struggled with social interactions from a young age, often described as a loner with few friends. His sense of isolation deepened after his parents' tumultuous divorce and his mother's departure from the family home. Dahmer's lack of meaningful social connections contributed to his inability to form healthy relationships, leading him to develop increasingly deviant behaviors. Like Huckle, Dahmer found solace in a private world of disturbing fantasies that went unchecked by external influences. Another comparison is the case of Ted Kaczynski, who also exhibited significant social isolation. A brilliant mathematician, Kaczynski withdrew from society to live in a remote cabin in Montana. His isolation was both physical and psychological, as he cut ties with family and friends. Kaczynski's detachment from societal norms allowed his extremist views and violent tendencies to develop unchecked. His case highlights how social isolation can foster radicalization and detachment from moral and ethical standards. The final comparison is the case of Elliot Rodger, who carried out a mass shooting in California in 2014, which is another example of the dangers of social isolation. Rodger experienced severe social rejection and bullying throughout his school years peers, leading to intense feelings of loneliness and resentment. He became increasingly isolated, spending much of his time online, where he found validation for his grievances in toxic communities. Roger's lack of real-world social connections contributed to his distorted worldview and his ultimate decision to carry out a violent attack. These cases, along with Richard Huckle's, reveal several common patterns. Early social rejection. Many offenders experienced early social rejection, bullying, or neglect, contributing to their isolation. This rejection often led to feelings of resentment and anger towards society. Online communities. Isolated individuals frequently turn to online communities for validation and support. These communities can reinforce deviant behaviors and provide a sense of belonging that is missing in their real lives. In many cases, the lack of intervention from family, friends, or professionals allowed deviant behaviors to escalate. Early identification and support could have potentially altered the trajectory of these individuals' lives. With emotional detachment and socially isolated, individuals often exhibit emotional detachment and a lack of empathy. This detachment allows them to rationalize their actions and dehumanize their victims. Huckle's psychological profile is complex, reflecting a convergence of personality traits, cognitive distortions, and environmental influences that facilitated his criminal behavior. Huckle exhibited traits of narcissism, including a grandiose sense of self-importance and a lack of empathy. His actions, which he meticulously documented and shared online, suggest a need for admiration and validation from like-minded individuals. Huckle's lack of remorse, manipulative behavior, and superficial charm are indicative of psychopathic traits. His ability to integrate into communities and gain the trust of families while harboring sinister motives highlights his manipulative skills and emotional detachment. Huckle's belief systems were riddled with cognitive distortions that justified his actions. He often rationalized his abuse as beneficial, claiming to be helping impoverished children. This delusional thinking reflects a profound moral disengagement and denial of the harm he inflicted. Huckle's crimes were driven by paedophilic disorder. His extensive collection of exploitation material and his engagement in online communities dedicated to such content demonstrate his deep-seated deviant sexual interests. Huckle's methodical approach to offending involves several key behaviors and strategies. He employed grooming tactics to gain the trust of children and their families, often under the guise of missionary work or teaching. His ability to blend into communities and present himself as a benevolent figure was crucial in facilitating his access to victims. Huckle meticulously documented his abuse, creating a detailed record of his crimes. He shared these materials with other offenders online, seeking approval and recognition within deviant communities. This behavior underscores his need for validation and his detachment from the moral implications of his actions. Huckle targeted the vulnerable in impoverished areas, leveraging their socio-economic disadvantages to exploit them. His crimes were not only sexual, but also profoundly exploitative. Huckle's ability to commit his crimes over an extended period was facilitated by several environmental and societal factors. Operating in countries with limited law enforcement resources and oversight, Huckle found it easier to evade detection. The disparity in child protection measures between developed and developing countries played a significant role in his ability to continue offending. The anonymity provided by the internet allowed Huckle to share his crimes with a global audience of like-minded individuals, reinforcing his behavior. Online platforms facilitated the exchange of exploitation material and offered a sense of community to offenders. Understanding the psychological and environmental factors that contributed to Huckle's behavior is crucial for developing effective prevention and rehabilitation strategies. Identifying individuals with paedophilic tendencies early and providing appropriate interventions can help prevent the escalation of deviant behaviour. Education and awareness programs are essential in recognizing and addressing warning signs. Enhancing child protection measures in vulnerable communities, including better surveillance and reporting mechanisms, can reduce the risk of exploitation. International cooperation and resource allocation are vital in this regard. Developing specialized treatment programs for individuals with pedophilic disorders is critical. These programs should focus on cognitive restructuring, empathy training, and relapse prevention to address underlying cognitive distortions and behavioral tendencies. Richard William Huckle's case serves as a grim reminder of the multifaceted and deeply troubling nature of abuse. It underscores the importance of understanding not only the overt actions of offenders, but also the intricate psychological and environmental factors that contribute to such predatory behavior. Huckle's actions reveal a chilling confluence of personality traits, cognitive distortions, and environmental influences. His narcissistic tendencies and psychopathic traits, such as a lack of empathy and manipulative skills, allowed him to perpetrate his crimes while maintaining a facade of normalcy. His ability to rationalize his actions through cognitive distortions, convincing himself that he was helping his victims, highlights the profound moral disengagement that can characterize serial offenders. Understanding these psychological mechanisms is crucial in identifying potential offenders before they act. Huckle's case is a call to action for society to take a proactive and multifaceted approach to combat this sort of abuse. It demands that we look beyond the surface and address the root causes and contributing factors of such crimes. By integrating psychological insights with practical measures, we can create a safer environment for children and hold offenders accountable. Richard William Huckle's arrest and conviction for his horrific crimes against children were the result of a concerted effort by multiple law enforcement agencies across several countries. This international collaboration underscores the global nature of his offences and the necessity of cross-border cooperation in addressing such complex and far-reaching criminal activities. The National Crime Agency, NCA, played a central role in the investigation and capture of Richard Huckle. The NCA is a national law enforcement agency in the United Kingdom that tackles serious and organised crime, including child sexual exploitation. In 2014, the NCA received intelligence from Australian authorities about Huckle's activities, leading to a focused investigation. The NCA launched an extensive investigation into Huckle's activities under Operation Voicer. The operation involved meticulous examination of Huckle's online activities, including his posts on the dark web, where he shared his abusive material. The Australian Federal Police, AFP, were instrumental in the initial stages of the investigation. Their work in combating child sexual exploitation on the dark web led to the discovery of Huckle's activities, which they then shared with the NCA. The AFP's intelligence, derived from their own investigations into online child exploitation networks, was critical in identifying Huckle as a key perpetrator. This cooperation exemplifies the importance of international intelligence sharing in tackling global crimes. Huckle committed many of his crimes in Malaysia, targeting impoverished communities where he posed as a volunteer and teacher. While the primary investigation and arrest were conducted by the UK authorities, Malaysian law enforcement played a significant role in providing evidence and support. Malaysian authorities assisted by gathering evidence from the locations where Huckle operated, which was crucial in building a comprehensive case against him. They also helped identify and provide support to his numerous victims. Interpol, the International Criminal Police Organization, facilitated cooperation and coordination between the involved countries. Interpol's role in international investigations includes sharing critical information and providing support to national police forces. Interpol's databases and communication networks helped streamline the sharing of information and coordination between the UK, Australia, and Malaysia. This ensured that the investigation was thorough and that Huckle's network could be dismantled. As Huckle was a British national, the UK was heavily involved in both the investigation and prosecution of his crimes. The NCA led the operation from within the UK, ensuring that Huckle faced justice under British law. Richard William Huckle was prosecuted under several statutes in the United Kingdom for crimes he committed on foreign soil. The legal framework for prosecuting British nationals for offences committed abroad is designed to ensure that serious crimes, such as those committed by Huckle, do not go unpunished even if they occur outside the UK. The Sexual Offences Act 2003 is the primary piece of legislation under which Huckle was charged. This act covers a wide range of sexual offences and includes specific provisions for extraterritorial jurisdiction, allowing the UK to prosecute its nationals for sexual offences committed abroad. Section 72 of the Sexual Offences Act 2003 enables the UK courts to have jurisdiction over sexual offences committed by UK nationals or residents abroad. This provision was crucial in prosecuting Huckle for his crimes in Malaysia. Under this section, Huckle was charged with multiple counts of assault against children, as well as other related offences. Through their combined efforts, these agencies demonstrated the power of unified action in bringing perpetrators to justice and protecting vulnerable children worldwide. The prosecution of Richard Huckle involved the application of several key statutes that allow the UK to extend its jurisdiction to crimes committed by its nationals abroad. These statutes include provisions from the Sexual Offences Act 2003, the Protection of Children Act 1978, the Criminal Justice Act 1988, and the Serious Crime Act 2007. Through these legislative measures, the UK was able to ensure that Huckle faced justice for his abhorrent crimes, despite them being perpetrated on foreign soil. This legal framework plays a crucial role in combating international child sexual exploitation and ensuring that offenders cannot evade justice by committing crimes outside their home country. This has been the psychological analysis of Richard William Huckle. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with fellow true crime enthusiasts. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. We've got more fascinating cases and deep dives coming your way, so stay tuned. Your support helps us continue to bring you the best in true crime analysis. Thanks again for watching. Stay curious, stay safe. Until the next time, bye for now.